Welcome back. My name is Andromedus, and in this series, learning how to code before you code. We're going to talk about boxes today, and by boxes, you'll see what I'm talking about here in a little bit. But a box is something, obviously, that you store something in. But when it comes to coding, in this particular example, a box is something you store something specific in. And you even label a box to know what the box is, what's in it. But there can only be one type of thing in that box. And what I mean is, let's say that you have a box of, say, Fruit Loop cereal. Well, you're not going to have a box that has rice in with the Fruit Loop cereal. Or you're not going to have a box of crackers that has Oreo cookies in it. It's going to be managed and organized in such a way where when you grab the box, you know exactly what you're grabbing. And that's kind of the way the programming works. There's a thing, and it covers. You'll find this in just about almost every programming language, not all of them, but there's a thing called variable. And what that variable is just basically a box that we label, and sometimes we tell the language what it is that we're putting in the box, and then other times, like in Python, for example, we just put something in the box, and Python will automatically know what type of thing we're storing in there. For example, like a number. In Python, you have two different types of numbers. You have integers, and you have oh wow, I can't believe I forgot. Float. And basically, it's just basic. Integer is just a whole number, no decimal point. It can be positive or negative. And in Python, in floats, it's decimal numbers. Again, it could be negative or positive. Or it could be a string. And I'll explain strings in a later time, but it's basically text. But when you say the variable, like say x equals 1, 2, 3, then Python will automatically relegate that to being a number. And depending if you put a decimal in there, it'll say it's a float or an integer. If you write in text in quotation marks, then it automatically knows it's a string. You don't have to worry about identifying it. But other programs, you do have to identify it ahead of time. You have to say like string variable or string x equals whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's basically it's a box. And if you think about it, you can take boxes and say, like, I have a half a box of cereal, Fruit Loops, for example. Again, I don't know why, but let's say we got half a box of Fruit Loops, and we had this other box. For why we would have it, I don't know, but let's say we have another half a box of Fruit Loops. And rather than taking up space and then storing both of those on the same shelf, we decided to combine those. Well, the first box would be A, the second box would be B, and we're going to combine those together. And when we do that, we have an equation that's basically written out like A equals A plus B. And what that means is we are now redefining what is in A. And so we poured a box of cereal from one box into the other box, and we had the two, just one box alone. You can do stuff like that, or you can do stuff like a third box. Let's say that we have two boxes of cereal, and we want to store them all in one spot, but the boxes are full. We can't mix them together and try to do that. So we need another box or another container. And so what we do then is we got A equals Fruit Loops, B equals Fruit Loops, and we take C, the other box, the third box, and we put A plus B, or C equals A plus B. And so now we have one box that has both of those other two boxes. Now in programming, A would still have one box of Fruit Loops, or one thing of Fruit Loops, and B would still be Fruit Loops. Those don't get emptied out. We just create a new variable that has both of those. But you can do math and stuff like that on it. Just like with strings, and like I said, we'll get into a little bit more later on, But in strings, you can have A equals I am and B equals happy. And then you can take C and say I am plus happy, and now you have a whole entire sentence. So you can mix and match your same type variables. Now, because strings are slightly different, you can do something sort of the same way. You can format a string to include a different type, like an integer, and have it read out like A equals 18, right? Well, then you can format a string saying I am 18 years old. And depending on what programming you're working with, you can do that. It's done differently in different programming. And since I don't want to get into specifics of a certain type of programming, then I'm not going to cover that here. But let's see, what else can you do? Yeah, the boxes variables are labeling. Okay. One of the things is when you're looking at labels, if you see somebody else's code and you don't know what you're looking for, oftentimes it can be a bit much. But programming languages the computer doesn't understand what we're labeling it as. It knows that it has that value stored in a certain memory block on your computer or your device or whatever. So labeling is not for the computer to know the variable name. The computer doesn't care, and it doesn't understand any significance given to the name of the variable. Like, for example, if you have a variable named my birthday, well, the computer's not going to know that variable is your birthday. It just knows that it's a date or a number, or not a date necessarily, but it just knows that they're numbers. So the naming scheme of variables is for our benefit and for other people's benefit who might read your code later on. So what we often do is, everything can't be A, B, or C, or whatever. So what you have to do in order to make things legible and to remind yourself what that variable is for is we name it. Like my birthday, for example. In Python, it would be my, lowercase, my underscore birthday. Java, it might be lowercase my capital B birthday. And that's where we know, okay, that's for my birthday. Or if you have something else that says 18, and you want to call it my age, well, then you know that number is your age, or represents your age. And that's all it is. The name of your variable is just basically a nickname or alias to let you know what it is that you're looking at. And if you're working in a team, it's even more important to name them properly and to have a significant meaning to it. So that way when they're looking at it and they need to do something with it, they can find what it is and see exactly what it's for, and they don't have to come back to you on a regular basis saying, hey, what's this variable for, what's this for. It's already straightened out for you because you named it properly in the beginning. And that's all the variables are. There's nothing to be scared of or intimidated by or to give you a headache. It's just knowing what those mean and what type of data they're storing. And most often the basic data types, which I probably should cover in a different video, but I'll go over it here, is you have your numbers, which is usually the bare minimum floats and decimals. You have strings, which is your words. You have characters, which are individual letters and symbols. Let's see, you have Boolean, which is usually true or false or ones and zeros. And there's not much else to say about that. It either is or it isn't. It's on or off. It's not that anything else other than that. Let's see what we got. Numbers, booleans, strings, characters. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers it. So, next time, I plan on getting into, let's see, what would it be? I don't know about strings. Strings are a little bit, they're simple, but they're a little bit in advance of what you can do with them. So I may cover that next time. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.